Hey, what's up, guys? What up? Thanks for coming out. Um, yeah, so after this, we're gonna have the opening at Oka. You're definitely welcome to come and check it out. So yeah, up next we got Neil Berkeley and Wayne White. So they got here to answer some questions for you.
Thank you. There we go. Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay.
We're old now.
He's Wayne. I'm Neil. Yeah. Do I interview you, or are there questions?
Well, this is Neil, the director.
Yeah.
I guess we can lay down a few little infos. I met Neil when he was a PA at a production company I was working at, and he was annoying me, and I told him to go away. And he came back 10 years. I mean, I'm kidding, but
yeah.
he was just this punk kid from Oklahoma, and I lost track of him. 8 years passed or so. And my book came out, as you saw there, that Todd Oldham created. Neil saw it, and we ran into each other in the neighborhood. We live in the same neighborhood in L.A., and he said, let's do a little short film or something. And that short film grew into this. So
What's funny is, I don't know if you still have a landline or not, but I remember I saw you at Wacko, and so if you're my age and you saw Pee-wee's Playhouse when I met Wayne and he was Randy and Dirty Dog, I was very enamored. And I'd memorized your phone number, and I said, is your phone number still 660-7885? And you said, you remembered that. I said, yeah. And so I called you and started going over there with a camera. We never felt like we weren't like making a movie. It was just kind of hanging out.
I did not believe you. I thought you were never going to pull this off. I was just humoring you at first. And then he was persistent, and Neil is blessed with many talents. Persistence is one of his many talents, and he was persistent and had an eye. He had a vision of what he wanted, the story he wanted to tell. He helped me craft the stage show that you see throughout the movie. This through line of the stage show that I did. He kind of shaped this kind of mythical thing for me. I mean, he created this portrait of me in film that is very flattering, but it's true, but it's flattering, and it's a treat that most artists never get to have in their lives, of having their career looked at this way, and it's been an amazing experience. And this movie has gone out in the world and really rattled a lot of people. I mean, to this day, I still get fan mail, and I never thought in a million years that any of this would happen, and I'm humbled to be the person that gets to inspire people to be creative, And
Any questions? Yeah.
Hi, gentlemen. It's just an honor to be in your presence. I'm just going to say that right now. You inspired me to take my woodworking from cut and dry, being as precise, and it kind of scared me to do anything else. And after I saw this documentary, I just let loose, and then I started having fun and created things that I get such satisfaction and feedback on. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
And my Halloween has never been the same. So I want to ask you though, because I know in my upbringing, school didn't necessarily at all promote creativity or infuse it with something that this is important too. The art world is important. Music got its place, but if you had your perfect situation in a school where you could dictate or say, we want this in the art program to bring out those kids who just get pushed to the side, what might you infuse in that school?
Well, I've never seen myself as an educator, but suddenly I was sort of thrust into that role with this movie, and So, but I've never really imagined scenarios like that for myself because I'm too much of a contrarian to be a teacher, you know. I would never fit into a system like that. And I think the key to my survival and the key to my expansiveness as an artist is that I buck against all systems. And if I did have to approach students and be within a system that taught as an art teacher at a university or whatever, I would actively tell them to buck against the system and create their own system. Don't go all supplicating with your hat in your hand around. Create your own world. You know, don't wait around to be accepted into some establishment or some institution or some system, an art world, a business, or whatever. Create your own business, be your own system, you know, and then the world will come to you because the world is dying for stuff like that, and it attracts. When you're independent and you're doing strong work, it attracts. And when you're going out and begging for work, you're weak, you know. You got to stand strong. And that would be the one message I guess I would send out to students is to stand strong and create their own puppet show, create their own homemade stuff, and see what happens. Because the world is dying for stuff done out of love, you know. It is, and it attracts. You can attract the whole world and get anything you want if you do what you love. I know that sounds naive, but, you know. Anybody else?
I feel like I didn't mean to cut applause short. I wanted to clap for that too.
I just go out there and get applause, you know, just say stuff that people will clap to. And
No, it's kind of, I guess the question, it was, I mean, how old is this, 10 years now?
it's 12 years old.
12 years old.
13 years old.
So, I don't know, like, so when I watch it, I mean, I've as someone who's also sensitive, I don't want to use words too lofty, but like, I'm so moved by like your philosophy that I get from it. And now there's been 12 years. I'm curious, has anything evolved for you or anything you look back on in this film? You're like, you know what? I don't think that anymore.
Not really, no. No, I mean, I feel like I've had the same core ever since I was a little kid, you know? I've had the same nuclear reactor inside, and it hasn't changed at all. And for some reason, again, it's that contrarian spirit. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I was determined to be of service to that nuclear reactor, you know, and take it out there and see what it could do. And not wait around for somebody to hire me. I was going to hire myself, and then they could, like, I was going to show them, you know.
I want to plus on to his question. This is my brother, and he kind of just asked the exact question that I would have. But I want to direct it towards you, Neil. Like, watching your film after all this time, is there something that you feel like you would want to change or highlight more?
Yeah. No, nothing big, no story stuff. Honestly, like, I think I've learned a few things about technical stuff. Like, I watch the edit and I hear the music and hear the mix, so a lot of technical stuff. But no, although I will say, I also wish I had sort of this reckless, not naivete going into things that I'm doing now. That would be nice.
That is a true superpower also, naivete. You know, in fact, that's one of the greatest, naivete and perseverance, and you can kill everything. You can conquer the world. You know, the minute you find out that you can't do it, or it can't be done, or nobody's ever done it, or you're certainly not going to do it, the minute your naivete is broken, then, you know, your spirit's broken. But naivete is, plus, let me tell you, this guy's a badass. This was his first documentary, and he's gone on. He just keeps rising and rising and rising. He did a documentary about Gilbert Gottfried, Dan Harmon. He's working on a documentary about Martin Mull. He works for David Letterman, Worldwide Pants. He produces, he directs. I mean, this guy is just, he's taken off. I mean, and I was lucky to be his first experiment.
Yeah, I mean, I shot, I don't have any, have you work in production or TV or anything like that, but there is this real thing about making everything look beautiful and sound amazing and be perfect. And I watched this, and I shot it with a Canon Vixia camcorder. It was about the size of a Coke can. Didn't even look real. And there's shots out of focus and not framed, and
No
lights on the wrong
lighting.
side, no lighting,
No crew.
no,
Just,
yeah, just I'd put the microphone on Wayne, and I think, God, I wish they still let us do stuff like that now. But there's this pressure to have all these people and cameras and everything that I think affect storytelling. So that's one thing I do watch it and think, boy, I wish we could still do it like that, or I could do it like that. It's harder to do these days.
How long did it take for you to shoot, like, all the footage?
About 2 years. Yeah, the whole thing took about 2 years and 2.5, almost 3 years, and then it got into South by Southwest, and it then took off it was kind of a surreal experience after that.
13 years ago next month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
At South by Southwest in Austin. That's where it premiered. And yeah, my life has not quite been the same ever since. Only because, well, on the plus side, it was great for business. You know, my art, the art started flying off the walls. It was good for, I mean, just on a practical thing, it was good for business. On a different kind of subconscious level, it was kind of a challenging thing to have in your life, to be on a big screen and to be objectified like that, and to become sort of a semi-public figure, and to have people, to invite people into your private world like this, and sort of be a D-level movie star. You know, I wasn't ready for all that, and it does play a game with your ego. It can be a treacherous thing, but all in all, it's been an amazing, wonderful thing. Just because of all the people who have responded to it, that's what blows my mind. Like I said, I still get fan mail, and people, and I'm not bragging. This is what they say. You changed my life. You know, the art was. Everybody was hung up on their art education, or the fact that they thought art had to be serious, or they were listening to other people. This broke the dam for a lot of people and let them start listening to their inner voice, and gave them the courage to listen to their inner voice. And I know that sounds pretentious as hell, but it did. You know, it did. So there.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. Wayne, you spoke of yourself as an overthinker.
Yeah.
That was your role in your marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you don't have much control over overthinking? Have you tamed it, and if you have, can you tell us how?
Yeah. I'm still battling it, but I think I'm getting better at it as I go along, as I get older. I work on it every day. I really do. I'm not an official transcendental guy or anything, but I do try to do my own form of meditation. I much more of a into gratitude now. I make sure I start every day with, like, gratitude. And yeah, it's hard. But I'm. What can I say? I'm working on it, and the gratitude part as you get older helps a lot. Takes you out of yourself. That's what overthinking is. It's just your stupid ego, you know. And I've learned. I'm slowly starting to control my ego in ways that I never could, even during this period. But when I was a younger man, it was completely out of control, and that's sort of what it takes to make it too. Ambition is ego, but ego becomes poison after a while. So, it's one of those paradoxes of life.
Yeah, over here.
Hi. I'm a fan of your son's artwork also. I like all his mutant mayhem.
Well, he's here right now. Stand up, Woodrow White. There he is. There's my son. And I also want to introduce and here's my lovely wife, Mimi Pond, the world famous Mimi Pond. Unfortunately, Lulu couldn't be here tonight, but go ahead.
Nice to meet the family. I was just wondering if you guys have ever or thought about collaborating together now that kids are grown up and everyone seems to be like, in their professional mode at this point,
Well, Mimi and I are on our own two strong tracks. We don't really have never really collaborated on a piece of art, and it's not a bad thing. It's just we're much too strong in ourselves to come together in any kind of way. Who knows though? Maybe when we first met, we were trying to do a book together. So maybe we'll come back to something like that. Oh, yeah, we pitched TV shows together, as you might have remembered from the television show. She was an integral part of that period when we were trying to create something for TV. Yeah, it was very frustrating. But I have collaborated very specifically and concretely with Woodrow. In fact, if you go to the show tonight, you'll see it on the reel. We just recently did a video. We co-directed a video for Future Islands back in 2020 during COVID. So, and Lulu is one of my best studio assistant I've ever had. She helps me make paintings now and sculpture, and of course, she's a very talented sculptor and painter herself. So, yeah, we're all in the mix. We're, never say never. Who knows what's going to come next?
I wanted to add on to that and ask if there was a medium, seeing as how you've worked in just about all of them at this point, that you feel like you haven't approached enough, or that you would like to do that you really haven't explored yet.
Well, the one thing I am exploring more is music. I'm starting to play a lot more music. I have a band in Chattanooga called Username Password. I play banjo and guitar. We're going to be in the Big Ears Festival this year in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you know about that, it's one of the greatest alternative music festivals in the world right now. That's blowing my mind. So yeah, music is my new area of expansion, definitely. Yeah, and got a record coming out in March with Username Password, and yeah, music has given me it's. You got to learn your whole life, and I'm now learning how to be a musician in a band. Yeah.
So I might be the only person in the room that hasn't heard of you or Neil before, and I apologize if this question has already been answered. But have you, what Neil captured was your philosophy of life, and and then the history of that kind of got you there. Have you thought about writing a book that would talk about that philosophy in a way that people could think how that might be adapted to their lives?
No, I don't really see myself as like in the psychological help or self-help or guidance or I get uncomfortable when I have to really try to craft something in that genre. It just comes out in spontaneous. I mean, that's all just spontaneous talk to me. If I had to craft it into some kind of like inspirational book, it would just fall apart. It wouldn't work. But I do like to write, and that's another area I'm trying to expand into is writing. I would love to write. I write short little things. I'd like to write longer pieces, short stories. I write poetry. And I would like that message to be embedded in that literature, not as a self-helpy kind of thing, but as a subtext to the literature I write. Definitely, my philosophy, I think, couldn't help but be in there somewhere. Yeah.
Does Mimi still hate the beard?
Do you still hate the beard, Mimi?
I'm not used to the beard.
The beard's my fault, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
The picture Stephen was taking. So there's a few shots in the film where the beard's gone because he grew that beard.
Yeah.
Originally, this is before beards were the thing, like everyone had them, and he grew it for the photo, that old 19th century photo that Stephen Bergman was taking.
I'm posing,
And he shaved it off, and it was clean. And I was like, "Hey, man, I've got 6 months of footage of his beard. This is not going to work." And he goes, "Oh, Mimi's not going to be happy about this."
That's right. I forgot about that. I knew I initially grew it for that,
Yeah.
but you were the one to make me.
In Miami, you shaved it off in Miami.
Yeah.
A continuity issue. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew about
She
continuity.
calls me King Neptune now. In the bedroom.
Yes?
I just had a question because you see this amazing creative arc of your early life and growing up in the country and all of that. And even when this film was made, there really wasn't Instagram or anything like that. Do you purposely keep away from those platforms? Because, you know, I know, like, I work as a therapist and I work with a lot of young artists, and I can see the anxiety around having to produce for this platform all of a sudden. And it's almost like this film was your first eye on your whole inner life like this. Now young artists, that's all they know.
Yeah. Yeah, social media is a very problematic issue, especially with young minds, young teenagers and people in their 20s that don't quite have a clear sense of that don't at all have a sense of their self. They're still searching, and it doesn't help to be in an ego echo chamber like social media. I have no solution at all. I myself use social media. I enjoy it. I use Instagram to keep myself. It makes me feel connected to the world. It's my own little gallery, you know. I display my work on there. I enjoy it. I enjoy the feedback I get from people, and it just helps. Like most people, it makes me feel connected to the world. Like most artists use it for that purpose. I don't aggressively market myself on there or try to sell stuff or anything. I just, and it's pure ego. It's an ego on my part. Like, look at me, you know. That's whatever. That's, you know, but. It's a thorny issue. I see no resolve to it, really. I think it is kind of messing with young people's minds, though, and I don't know what to do about that.
I believe strongly that art bridges the generations. So it's up to us as older artists to inspire younger artists to get on the bandwagon and just go for it and fear no art.
Well, yeah, that's what warms my heart, that this movie did, that inspires young people coming up. And my attitude was always like, what did I want to hear that I didn't want to hear? That's sort of a guiding principle for myself, because I didn't hear anything I wanted to hear when I was young. And the stuff I mean, you know, yeah, that's my contrary spirit, but yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about being contrarian, and the work that you make is like inherent in that is the audience, especially like with puppetry and stuff like that. And how do you, when you're making stuff or like thinking about what to make or trying to be creative, how do you balance out the idea of like people are going to see this without with keeping on like what you actually want to make?
You mean, do I worry about an audience reaction? Is that what you mean?
You would balance the fact that people are going to look at it. Like, that's so much a part of the art that you make, like with puppetry and stuff like that. How do you balance out the creative process with the idea that, like, inherently people are going to look at it and judge it?
I like that people are going to look at it. That's why I'm making it, you know. I'm communicating with the world, and that's just fine by me. And I'm in control of what I'm showing, so I have no anxiety at all about the fact that people are going to see it, because I'm giving them what I want to give them, you know. And I'm not going to let them persuade me to do anything else, or I'm not going to try to be a people pleaser. Although I'm not like pure of heart, I slip into people please. I'm fallible. Sometimes I do kind of wander into people pleasing territory to make money and this or that, the other. But I never let the sense of an audience inhibit me or hold me back. In fact, it brings me joy that I am touching the world like that. I'm out there in the world spreading something, you know.
I ignore all of it, all the praise, everything, and ignore everything written about it in the message boards except that one guy that said that one negative thing. And that's all I think about. So that's the unhealthy way to do it. And one more? Or?
One. Okay,
Yeah.
one more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were wondering, because there's been a lot of other things that have come out since this, and you can see the influence of your work in all of new stuff. Like, for example, Brendan and I were really into a show that's called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared on YouTube. And we were just wondering if there's anything that you see that is kind of like more contemporary, that you can kind of either see your influence or you just think is kind of cool.
Oh, that's a tough question. Whenever anybody asks me what I think is cool, my mind just locks up all of a sudden. I can't think of anything on the spot. I don't know why I do that. I'll think of it 10 minutes from now. But I see, the world is, there's all kinds of incredible art being made. I never want to be the old codger that says, yeah, back then it was a golden age, now it's all shit. I don't have that attitude at all. I think there's new great stuff coming up all the time. And there is no golden age. Right now is the golden age. If you're 22, 23 years old, this is the golden age. There's no good old days. That's bullshit. There's only the expansiveness of creativity. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.